Welcome to episode. I've got no idea what number we're on of the Let's Talk Game podcast. I'm back.
So you never
I'm
remembered
tired.
when you were here.
Yeah. So like, it's just standard that I wouldn't remember now. I've got no idea what episode number it is, but it is good to be back and talk to you boys.
Oh, yes.
Over there, we've got the man in the middle, Uncle Chunt. How are you, my friend? You all right?
Yeah, I'm very loved.
So it's so lovely seeing you smile week in, week out, mate. I dig it. I dig it quite a lot. And Statman Dan's life's going well. You doing all right over there?
Things are going well. Things are going so well that I am sending you guys a photo in Discord right now. And I'm going to show everybody now here as well.
Hey,
Today, we got the keys to the house.
Hell
all
yeah.
done.
Awesome.
So, yeah, probably over the next couple of weeks, we'll be moving. We're moving over to the new place.
Life achievement.
TV ordered on the 26th, so everything's happening.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome, mate.
That's awesome news, mate. Yeah, serious life achievement right there. Achievement unlocked. So when are you moving bit by bit? Are you staying in the place you're in now while you kind of transition, or are you just straight?
We've got like appliances and stuff that still need to be put in there and that. And yeah, after about 2 weeks, we should have everything over. We've got this place until the rental that we're in until August, but we'll should be out of here before August, and then we'll clean the rental up before we buy and start at the new place.
Oh man, that's very cool. Well done.
Awesome. You'll have to give us piece by piece updates as your cinema room comes together, and
you got to.
Picture.
I am definitely showing you all
chairs.
the photos when everything's set up.
Yeah, get you in your fancy pants seats with your big ass TV and your PlayStation controller, and it'll be good fun for you, mate. No, congrats, well done. Speaking of unlocked achievements, what have we been playing? Chunt, kick us off.
Oh, quite a bit. I actually progressed in the Tasmanian Tiger today, which is great. I put that away for a month or two because I just got stuck. So I sucked it up and watched a walkthrough of the particular level I was stuck on just to find. Yeah, it's one of those collectathon things. We need to get X amount of something before we can go to the next area and whatever. So that was great. I'm really enjoying that game. And we're playing the lady and I. We're playing this zombie shooter. It's like Army of the Something 4 or whatever. It's on Game Pass. It's like all Nazi zombies and shit, and it's like, Left 4 Dead, but not. Yeah. It's actually
called Army of the Dead, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
think it's Army of the Dead 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always see that the cover to it.
Yeah, it's better than we thought it was going to be. Like we thought, all right, this will be what it is, but we're actually very very caught up in the gameplay and the progression on it, and it's a lot of fun. So we've been playing that a lot lately, and I kind of gave up on Yakuza 2 because I need a break from that world. It's the third game, and they're both like 15 to 30 hours each, and I'm up to chapter 8 of 16. I'm like, yeah, I think I need to walk away for a bit and play other things. I need to see other people, all right? And something else. I played something else, but I can't remember what it was. It mustn't be too important, but yeah, Game Pass has just been supplying my time. So yeah, that's all I've been doing.
Dan, what about you?
Yeah, I didn't get to play much this week, as you can imagine.
Yes.
Ready for the house. But yeah, so I got some 2K in, and I think I'm playing Mass Effect tonight. I think I've got it loaded up, ready to go. So that is all for me. Super quick.
Nice.
Not too bad. I have managed, as you can probably imagine, to play sweet fuck all. I played a couple of games of FIFA in just while I was actually on paternity leave, but yeah, since being back at work, I've had no energy, no desire to do anything. Yeah, I've been playing Dad Life. That's what I've been playing. Zero video games. So without further ado, into the stuff that's happened this week. There's no better place to start than with Nintendo. Just doing a Nintendo and giving people exactly what they don't want. So for months, for years, we've been talking now about a pro model Switch. It's been rumored, it's been talked about, it's been leaked, it's had spec leaks, it's had everything under the sun that could possibly let us know that this machine was coming. And it turns out it's just a better display. Everything else remains largely the same. The dock now has a Ethernet port on it. well done, Nintendo, for catching up to like 2002, I guess.
And they got rid of the USB, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got
one of
rid
the
of one.
USB
Yeah, they
ports.
got rid of one of the USB ports to put the Ethernet port in. So, yeah, Nintendo did a Nintendo. They went, hey, look at this pretty screen. How about you play some 30 FPS games on it? I mean, the big thing that we were waiting for with this, and I know Chunt, you and I, we said a while back, the only thing that would entice us to upgrade would be better performance.
Yep.
You know, getting these games at 60 frames a second, even in handheld mode. I'd take 720p 60 on a handheld OLED. That would look beautiful. But no, we don't get that. The insides, the guts remain the same, except for a doubling of the internal storage to 64 gig. And the price is £50, $50 more expensive. For you guys, I'm not sure what that would be. It's usually 70 or 80, isn't it, when you move it over? But hard note from me, super disappointed. It's not worth it just for a handheld screen. I typically play docked mode anyway. And, you know, you think about games like The Legend of Zelda, like when it eventually comes out next year, if it comes out next year. Like, I'm not going to play that game in the palm of my hands. I'm going to play it connected to the TV. So if I'm not getting the upscaling for anything, which is all I wanted 4K upscaling. I wanted it to look prettier when it was docked. And hopefully, yeah, just run a bit better. And none of the above happened. The screen does seem like it's a pretty screen for all intents and purposes. We haven't seen it in the flesh, but it looks like it's going to be quite a nice screen. But yeah, if it's not going to give me any performance upgrades, it can go sit on a spike. Dan, you've probably got the least to put in about this, so go ahead and then we'll let Chunt give his 77 cents.
Yeah, my comments, I guess, are more around the reaction of it all. My thoughts are this seemed like a Nintendo thing to do. Like, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the Nintendo. Like, this is what they would do. It's weird back in the day when the Vita started with an OLED and had to scale back to the LCD, and Switch is like, no, that's not what you do. You start off with the LCD and we bring up the watch. Yeah, the only stuff I really got to watch this week about it was like watching the like Digital Foundry stuff, and they're mentioning that, you know, there probably in the guts of the Switch the possibility to up the performance, but Nintendo just want to stay where it's at. You know, and I think everyone kind of reacted a little bit about it in terms of this is not the Pro that everyone wanted, but that doesn't mean the Pro is not in existence. Like, Digital Foundry are like, don't worry, there is one being made. Like, we know there is one. But yeah, I think everyone just, based on all the reports that we heard earlier in the year, everyone thought this was going to be it. And Nintendo was like, no, we'll just keep making money on something that probably doesn't cost us a lot to make.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point in the fact that why would they bring that machine to market? For all intents and purposes, everybody still believes there's a more powerful one kicking around. Why would they bring that this summer and not do the thing where they basically replace the standard one now? Yeah. So it's like, that's gone. We've got a base model that has the OLED screen and, you know, it's a slight design refresh. It now exists and it'll sit next to the Switch Lite for, well, forever. And then next year when these tentpole titles come out and they need the extra horsepower, it gives you again another opportunity to sell hardware and go, hey, here's Breath of the Wild. You can get it to run at 60 frames a second if you have this one. It'll be in 4K, or you can play 1080/30 on, you know, the original one.
Especially while developers and publishers are trying to keep their games on like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One for up to a period of time. Like, they're trying to milk that as much as possible, and they're obviously going to milk it on the Switch as well. So
yeah.
It makes sense that there's not going to be anything that they really need to push for at least another year or two.
Yeah, I still think that Breath of the Wild 2 is when that hardware comes. I think I said that in January, that it would launch alongside Zelda because they'll do what they did with Breath of the Wild. Like, it's like day and date, here's your new Switch, here's your Zelda game. It worked so well last time, why would they not do it again? But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I take that point as well. Like, everyone still seems convinced that, don't worry, it is still there. This is just them going, it's called the OLED model. That will disappear in a year's time. It will just be that is the Nintendo Switch, and the light will be the light. Be interested to see if they refresh the light in the next year or two and give that an OLED as well. That'd be quite curious to see. Chunt, what's your opinions and thoughts on the SWOLED?
Ah, man, SWOLED.
Good name.
I like that. Yeah. Oh, look, it's just, I think it's more of a manufacturing thing. Like, they had issues with the original Switch model, and they eventually started changing manufacturer and supply chains and whatnot. And I think this is where this is coming down to. We're like, well, let's just start phasing out that crappy one, because I've noticed I had the original Switch and it was a bit bendy, it was soft. I remember holding it and felt it flex and stuff. But the one I've got now, which is the red box one with a better battery and a different screen in it, it's more solid. It's real sturdy, and it doesn't have all those same problems. So to me, it just sounds like, well, they're just moving on to another chain. But yeah, introducing the screen for what's to come makes sense. You got your base, like Jamie said, your baseline, and then the Pro one coming. I wouldn't care if they phased out the light, to be honest. You don't really hear many people talking about that one. But for me, I'm not really interested in this at all. I'm really not. It'd be nice, but I barely touch my Switch as it is, and when I do touch it, it's in the dock. So, big deal. I'm not going to spend $400 or $500, whatever it is here in Australia. There's a trade-in deal for a new Switch, the new one, for $399 if you trade in your current Switch. Just for an OLED, I'll pass. Thank you very kindly. But I don't know. What were they going to do? Like, they could have just not announced it, right? But it just points all the fingers at all those industry insiders of like what they knew, and they said there was something going to be announced before E3, and the Switch Pro rumors would come to fruition shortly after E3, and nothing's happening. And like it just shines a light on all these people are turning around going, what now? Like what happened? All you people for like the last 12 months were spouting all kinds of shit of like, yeah, the pro's coming, but it's not.
I think the like initial report had almost everything about it right, except for the fact that it wasn't the Pro model, like with the 4K and everything. It had OLED.
It didn't have the new NVIDIA chip. It was everything else but the chip.
Well, data miners also found in the processor thing, in the like the display chip, whatever it is in the dock, that it has the capability for upscaling, but it's not active. So it's like, well, is this now the new universal Switch going forward? Like when the Pro one comes out, is it just going to unlock whatever that feature is, or what? Like it's cross compatible now. You can put the old Switch into this new dock, so that's not a problem. And the vents that are in there's vents in the dock now for like a more powerful device, you would assume. So who knows? I don't really care.
I mean, if that's we said ages ago, if that happened and it was like, oh, this dock will let you upscale to 4K and it's in the dock,
yeah,
I'd take that. I'd just buy a new dock. They're like 80, 90 pounds here. It's like that'd be great. Buy a new dock, increase your output. I rarely play in handheld. I don't need anything more in handheld than I've currently got. So anyway, we don't need to spend too much more time on that. I think it's just disappointment, but yeah, at the same time, I'm convinced there's no smoke without fire. Yep. And when they're talking about the DLSS capabilities of what NVIDIA's hardware can do, we've seen it do it on their graphics card. Their next generation version of their NVIDIA Shield is already, they're showing it off. It's like that chip that was in the original NVIDIA Shield, the Tegra processor, is what is inside a Nintendo Switch. So if their next generation version of that is coming out, it makes sense that Nintendo carry on down that line. There's been a lot of talk, obviously, over the last week since this news dropped that Nintendo could be looking at Microsoft's model and following it. So it's like, the Switch becomes their family of consoles, as opposed to, a few years from now, they have something completely balls to the wall different, which is quite standard for Nintendo, that they could be going, look, no, all of your games are playable on all of the Switches. It's just you get performance enhancements, and by the time you get so far down the line, we'll rely on cloud gaming. Like, I mean, I don't know if either of you have seen or played a cloud game on the Switch, but I played the demo of Control on a Switch, and I wanted to carve my eyeballs out within 7 seconds. It was absolutely god awful. So if they want to rely on the cloud, maybe they should talk to Microsoft and do a little bit of a grubby deal. But Alas, onwards. Some more announcements this week came from. We'll start with Assassin's Creed because that was kind of next in chronological order, wasn't it? So Assassin's Creed Infinity or Infinite, or whatever they're calling it, is in development, in active development. This is not a rumor. This was confirmed by Ubisoft in a blog post that they were working on a project codenamed Assassin's Creed Infinity. Again, don't care which of the two. And they were bringing together the two teams that typically work on Assassins at the moment in the Origins team and the Odyssey team. So that's Montreal and Quebec, I think, is it? Ubisoft Montreal, Ubisoft Quebec. They're now going to share resources, work together. There's going to be a kind of studio director overseeing the whole thing. And the two kind of project leads will, work together on this big Assassin's Creed title. There are some Ubisoft veterans involved, a la people from the Far Cry team that are going to work on this as well, which is positive because I think I can't remember the name of the guy now, but it's quite a beloved dev from Far Cry 2. And it's like, this guy's widely respected in Ubisoft and hasn't, falsely been accused, or sorry, not falsely been accused, got away with, allegedly touching people. So a lot of the other guys that are involved in this project, though, were the people that were accused of touching people. And, they've had an internal investigation. They've also had an external party investigate the situations, and they've all been disciplined appropriately where necessary. And we're just supposed to believe that, and they can get away with carrying on being misogynistic little cunts. So support Assassin's Creed. Politics aside, the video game. Now, we've got differing opinions on Assassin's Creed kind of across the board. Dan, I know you much preferred the older Assassin's games where they didn't take 9 million and 7 hours to complete. Chun, you're very much the same. I fucking loved Odyssey. Odyssey is by far my favorite Assassin's Creed game. Couldn't quite get into Valhalla, but I do believe that is because I played it so close to Odyssey, as I've said countless times. I will go back to it. That mood has to strike me for a Assassin's game, and I'm keen to go back to it. Dan, we'll start with you. What's your opinion on this Infinite Assassin's Creed that people are dubbing a live service, even though they haven't said anywhere that it's going to be a live service? But that's the kind of assumption, kind of industry-wide. What's your thoughts?
Initially, when I saw the headlines, I did the old scoff, like, ongoing game, blah, 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 or something like that. But I was thinking about it actually on my drive home from work today, and just thinking about it more, and the idea that if it's just an ongoing Assassin's Creed game where they just release these little like constant 10-hour stories jumping into I don't know how they're going to do it, but what I picture of what I would probably want if they were going that way is, they have all the maps from all of these games over the years, and it would be cool if for 3 months they're like, oh, we're going back to Italy, and then they just tell different stories in that map. Meanwhile, the other teams are working, okay, now we're going to do more in Egypt, and then the second half of the year, it's like, okay, here's some stories in the Egypt times. And they literally can just keep these maps going, almost like a Hitman sort of thing I'm thinking of, where they just update other maps that they've used before. And then have like a big blowout every couple of years where it's like, okay, here's a totally different place in history that we've never been before. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking that they'll do, and they'll just be like, and you just, I don't know if it's like a thing you'll just sign up, like subscribe or something to it, and it's just constant content, or if it's just, okay, here's a Destiny type thing, like here's the expansion here's another expansion that you can get into. We'll cycle in and out stuff like Destiny does at the moment. That's what I'm kind of thinking that they're going to go down the lines of, but that's kind of where I ended up on it on the drive home today. I actually was quite negative on it when I initially heard it, and then kind of warmed up to it a little bit more before the podcast.
I agree That is literally what I think they're going to do as well. I think it's going to be a case of taking all of those maps and having this world, and it's like, right, this is our focus. We're going to tell a thread, because I haven't finished Valhalla, and I know Chunt, I know you haven't even started it or touched it yet, but it's open. Not even a spoiler because I don't know what it is, but they tie up the whole franchise. There is something that happens in Valhalla that ties up every single loose end from every Assassin's Creed game. So it's like, it's done. So the logic is to then, yeah, if they can take all of this stuff they've built over the last decade, smush it all together and go, right, we're going to now tell a new story with you, the player, as the central character. So there's no kind of, you're in Abstergo. Think of it a little bit like, was it Unity or 4? Assassin's Creed 4, a Black Flag, where when you were in the Abstergo stuff, you were basically like walking around an arcade.
Yeah, Black
and it was
Flag.
fun to go be an Abstergo. I can see them taking that concept, and it's like you, the player, are going on all these different adventures and trying to figure out this story that spans whole of history and through different places. Dan, as you said, like every year or two, they have a big ass expansion that maybe adds another continent to the map. And, 3 or 4 years from now, we could be looking at one of the biggest and best video games on the planet, providing they keep it telling those single player experiences. That's all I want it to do. I enjoy going into Assassin's Creed and having the RPG thing and leveling my dudes up and getting new gear, but having it be an experience for me. I don't want to have to try and then group up with 3 or 4 other people to try and get through the content. I do that with Destiny. I don't need another one of that. And it's difficult enough in my current life stage to do that with Destiny. So I really hope they don't take that blueprint. I'm more positive on this than I think a lot of people are, because people see that persistent world, like live service stuff, but I genuinely just think we're gonna see this a lot in the next year. Games are becoming platforms. Halo Infinite is going to be a platform which delivers our Halo content for the next decade. They've said so. They've said that. Like, it's going to give us the content. It's going to be the platform for the stories that they want to tell. And Assassin's Creed's going to do the same thing. Destiny's been doing it for a decade. Like, I think it's just the way that a lot of these big franchises are going, and it will be to the betterment of customers, because with the business models that exist, they don't then have to charge $70 for a 70-hour video game. So we don't want Valhalla-sized experiences if it's a, say, 10-hour experience and it's every 90 days and you pay $10-15, whatever you pay for like a season of something. I'm in on that. That'd be quite cool. And you can dip in and out when you want. Like Chunt, you do that with Destiny. It's like, I'll dip in and out when I want to. If there's a season that really interests me, I'll get involved. If not, I'll wait till the next expansion. I'll get back in then. And I can see it working. I can see it being quite genius if they manage to pull it off, that is. Chunt, what's your lay of the land? I'd imagine you're probably somewhere in the middle of what both Dan and I said anyway, but
well,
let's have it.
Yeah, look, I think you're both on the money. My initial angle was, of course, like, oh my God. I immediately had an anxiety attack, almost, because it's like, oh God damn it. I just can't. Like, a live service game, it just makes me cringe whenever someone talks about it, because to me, a live service game is constant grinding. You just get smashed by bosses until you need to put in 30 hours to get a good weapon or something. And it's like, I just don't fucking care. But if it's something what you guys are talking about, that sounds like a good idea. But they're already starting to do that. Like, ever since Assassin's Creed Syndicate and to a lesser extent Black Flag, we had these little expansions or little extra stories that were told in that world, or little vignettes or whatever that added on to it. Odyssey had a crap ton of support after that launched. There's so much content there for that. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is getting it now. Like, there's seasonal content for that game since it's launched that I've missed out on, that I haven't even touched. I've got so much shit to get through when I start that game, and there's more coming for that, like more story content and whatever coming down the line. So they've been doing this slowly. Like, when you look at it retrospectively, of like, oh yeah, okay, well, yeah. If it's anything like that, like if it's just like you say, Jamie, if it's just like you go back into that particular world to do what you need to do, and you're not having to team up, or you're not having to grind shit, you're not having to do all that stuff. If it's just Assassin's Creed-y, if it does what Assassin's Creed does and doesn't try to jump the shark on everything and take over your life, like, I'd be totally down for that. It sounds like a good idea. I just hope they use the opportunity to explore more places that haven't really had the spotlight on. Like, China got a little 2D platformer thing, so did India. 2 of the biggest countries on the planet, just a little 2D platformer thing. It's like, all right, cool. Japan, man, where's that? Is this where they're finally going to do that eventually? I want that Japan game. You know, old school me would be like, just give me a Japan game and just do whatever you want after that. Just do that, and then you can do whatever you want afterwards. But yeah, look, cool. Assassin's Creed has its place and its foothold in the gaming industry in the world, and everyone's going to have eyes on it when it comes out. And you're right, it could be the biggest game on the planet if it does it right. So
no, it constantly breaks records, and that's something that people forget. Like Assassin's is a huge franchise, so what better thing for them to try and do this with? It's just like we should caveat here as well. In that blog post from Ubisoft, they do state this is kind of a concept at the minute. They're trying to figure out how to do it. It doesn't currently. It may not exist. It may just be that they deviate and carry on down the current path. Because Valhalla, we know, is getting more support this year and next.
And next year,
yeah. Because there's also, so Schreier's article came out at the time, and he even pointed out that like the blog post wasn't something that like Ubisoft just put together because he put out his article. He said he's been talking with Ubisoft for weeks. Like they knew his article was coming, so therefore they had something ready to go for when he posted it. The other thing I was thinking of, like, I just can't see that they wouldn't have some type of cooperative, something cooperative in the game as well, like just to keep it a live service somehow. Do you guys remember? I think it was either Brotherhood or Revelations where I think it was Brotherhood where you were sending assassins out on missions and stuff, and you'd be recruiting guys, and depending on their levels, there'd be different tasks. I wonder if they literally turn that into like a side game within it, where you literally go out on those little tasks and then come back to the main story. Like they're just like optional things that you can go out and do if you want. Otherwise, you just keep playing the story. I feel like there's something like that they'll bring back, because there's a lot of stuff that Assassin's Creed have brought into their games in the past and then like got rid of. Like there was that tower defense part of the games that they just totally abandoned at one stage. Like they just add little mini games within their games, and it wouldn't surprise me if they bring some back.
Well, Unity actually had campaign co-op, like 4 players or something in it, from memory. So it's not out of the wheelhouse completely. Yep, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'll play Valhalla eventually.
That's the Assassin's Creedness of it all.
Yeah.
I want to go back. I want to play Valhalla, but again, I've got through the slog that is the start of that game, so I should be able to just pick it up and start mowing through it. So that's pretty good. Right, and the last thing we had on the docket today, guys, was just to talk about our updated playlist for 2021. We know a little bit more about what's coming now. Between now and the end of the year anyway. I don't think there's anything that's going to stealth drop before the end of this year that we're not now aware of. So Chun, you can start this one off. What are you going to, Game Pass aside, unless it is a day and date, something like Halo, what are you, because I know you're going to play lots of games on Game Pass, but what before the end of the year is like, brand new coming to the fold that's like, yeah, I'm playing that this year?
The Ascent. I'm very keen on. That's out later this month. It's that isometric cyberpunk game. I've been keeping my eye on that for a long time, and I can't wait for it to come out. There's a Viking, like 2D Viking game, like 2D side scroller. It looks like Limbo, but it's Vikings, made by one dude. Song of Iron, I think it's called. And I've been watching that and these updates for like a year. I can't wait to play that. It looks very, very good. Just for one dude's making it, it's pretty impressive. Apparently it's coming out this year. I'm very excited for that. Halo Infinite, of course. Flight Simulator, I'm finally keen to play that. Forza Horizon 5. I'll just forget about Flight Simulator for a bit because it's just playing flights, playing flying games and whatever. But Forza Horizon 5, I love Forza Horizon series. I really enjoyed the mainline Forza series, but when I first started playing Horizon, which was Horizon 3, which was in Australia, I was like, oh, this is what this game is. Holy shit, I love it. And Forza Horizon 4 is great, but now 5's coming out and it's in Mexico, and it's like, that's for me and my lady just to drive around the country and just fucking go, yes, puppy. And I think that's about it. Like, I'm kind of restrained a bit, or withdrawn a bit on like releases that are coming out this year. Like, I'm going to sit back on a lot of releases and just be like, all right, just show me what it is first, and I'll get excited later. But I'm I mean, I haven't even touched Mario Golf yet, and I got that. You know, I whinged about Amazon. Oh, fucking hell, is not sealed, and I haven't even fucking played it yet. Yeah, I mean, I can't even think about it, guys. I really can't. I looked at my pins on my Xbox. I've got all these games pinned of my back catalog. I've just got them pinned one after the other. Like, all right, I'm working through them one by one. I can't even think about too many new games right now. I really can't. But those are probably it that I'm going to play this year. Yes.
Harry Muff. Dan.
Yeah, mine's interesting. I just like to point out, Chunt, I'm glad you brought out like that Viking game, because in that the state of play that happened, there was another Viking game, the Tribes of Midgard. I want to do like a backtrack on when suddenly everyone all of media just kind of switched from doing the Greek mythology and then just went, all right, now we're doing Norse mythology. Because like you had the Viking series from like 2013, and then Thor Ragnarok was in 2017. The Norse mythology Neil Gaiman book was 2017. Hellblade was 2017. God of War was 2018. Like there's been an explosion of now we're doing all Norse mythology. And
that was awesome.
And you just don't get any Greek mythology stuff anymore because they all finished that up with when those two Hercules movies.
You've got a really big piece of Greek mythology to play in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you should fucking play.
Yeah, or do you just go play Valhalla and then have Greek Norse mythology in that? So anyway, back to the games. So the games that are already out that I definitely will get to. Right now, I'm basically finishing. I just want to finish Mass Effect. That's what I want to do. But I have a mate that is currently in Taiwan, and I don't know when he's coming back. But It Takes Two. I want to play that when he gets back as a 2-player cooperative game. So I'll just hold off on that until he's back and then buy it and play it. Disco Elysium I still have not bought because I know I'm going to play that next, and I might as well wait till I'm done and see if it's any cheaper. Ratchet and Clank, same thing. I will play that once I get through these games. I'm trying to basically just buy the games and play them as I get them, because they will just sit there if I just sit them on the shelf or have them sitting on the PlayStation for that long, because something else will overtake it, and I just don't want to do that. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater I want to get to at some point. Like I have a lot of love for that game back in the day, and I don't even care if I just buy the PlayStation 4 version and play it on the PlayStation 5. Like, just want to play it. 12 minutes. I know it's the Xbox exclusive, and I could play it on a PC, but why would I do that? What I do want to do though, because I know some of these exclusives are a bit weird. Like, you know, that Stalker 2 game that's been at the Microsoft consoles. Apparently, that's only a 3-month timed exclusive for that game. So I'm wondering if 12 minutes, being it a much smaller game, might not be this like long period of time. It might actually be short. So I'm hoping that comes this year. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, I'll absolutely get that as well. Kena Bridge of Spirits is kind of my point where I'm like, all right, I definitely need to have Mass Effect done by that time, because I want to play that as soon as it comes out. And then I can get onto all these other ones after that. And the only one which I'm sticking by is Horizon Forbidden West. I still think it will come this year. It's not going to come out when I thought it did, but I still think it will. I still think they'll get it out. So those are my shopping list.
Nice.
Big lists of big shoppers. I've already got Kena Bridge of Spirits pre-ordered, paid for, done. It's sat there. Halo Infinite obviously will come to Game Pass. We know that much. 12 minutes as well. That's day and date for Game Pass, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another one already checkboxed off the list. So they're the few that kind of we've got in common there. The Cyberpunk upgrade should come as well. So I'd be keen for that to come and get into that. The other things that are pretty like, you know, almost on that edge of tickling my fancy to play. I want to play A Plague Tale: Innocence, and that just got its Series X upgrade as well, which is in Game Pass. I downloaded that once before. I think I downloaded it on PC, like about a year ago with the full intent of sitting and playing, and then I was just too hooked on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and never got round to it. So I want to give that a whirl. And the same thing for Jedi Fallen Order. I want to finish it. I think I've got 2 planets left, so I want to get back into that and finish that up. But as you can imagine, time is in very short space for me at the minute, and I can see probably this year's edition of FIFA is probably where I'll spend most of my free time, because I don't really have to think about that. It's just muscle memory. So
No,
there's nothing else really. No, I'm not doing it. I think I told you about Skyward Sword. I refuse to waggle a fucking right thumbstick as a sword. It's not going to be fun. I'm not going to enjoy playing it. So, yeah, it's a hard no from me. Scarlet Nexus.
Are you guys done for Switch this year then? Do you have anything on Switch you want to get?
Breath of the Wild 2 is the next Switch game for me.
Metroid?
There's nothing between now and then. No.
No, I'm going to pass on Metroid. I think I'll get the new Mario Party when it comes out, though, because it's a remix of all the old games, but with the new engine. It looks sweet. But yeah, I'll be doing Skyward Sword. I haven't played that. It'll be a new experience for me.
Well, I'll take your steer. Like, let me know how awful the controls are, and then when you tell me they're really awful, I'll feel validated.
Nice.
That's all we want is validation.
Something which neither of you said, which I thought both of you would have. Chun, I know you'll eventually do it because it's coming to Game Pass. Hades. Hades is coming to Game Pass. Right. I'll definitely play that again when it gets there.
I went, that's cool. Kept going.
Yeah, because you don't want to have to pay $49 for it or whatever it is.
No, it's not even that. I'd pay for it if I was interested. It's like, it looks cool. It's just nothing. It just doesn't interest me. But cool that it's Greek mythology. I'll give you that.
True, that's true.
It is basically Returnal.
Yeah, pretty much.
All of the mechanics.
I need games I can finish. I can't commit to a game that never ends. Like, even though it's
Hades ends, you've just got to be good at it, or turn God mode on. You can get to the end of Hades pretty quick. But yeah, that's there as well. The Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. I know you said about another Switch game. Like, Diamond and Pearl is my favorite generation. Like, whether I do or don't is largely going to depend on time. Maybe as a little Christmas treat. I don't know. But yeah, there's nothing else in the year that is other than one game, which again neither of you have mentioned. So quite curious. I thought you'd have both had enough interest to go, I'll take a gamble, or I'll see how it plays out, and if the reviews are good, you'll jump in. And can either of you guess what I'm talking about?
No.
Grand Theft Auto.
No. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I forgot about that already.
Comes out in October. So Dan, I know you said you were going to wait for reviews. You weren't jumping in immediately, but
I'm super nervous. I watched the gameplay again to make it, maybe I was just, look at it through fresh eyes after a few days. You got to do that sometimes. And I looked at it, and I'm serious. It's rough. Like, the amount of pop-in I was seeing when they come out of that ship and they just turn a corner and it's just a rock. It's just a rock there. And they're halfway towards walking to it, and then suddenly all the foliage and stuff comes on it. I'm like, it's only 10 meters away. Like, it's really worrying. Seriously.
Yeah, you have to hope that that's not the next gen versions. But yeah, it's not going to be something like with Avengers. Like, I pre-ordered that for all of us. But Guardians of the Galaxy, I will not be pre-ordering. It's going to be a case of I'll wait for it to come out. I'll play it. I'd imagine they'll do the same they did with Avengers and maybe have a demo. The first level or something will come out as a demo to kind of entice you in. But I'll definitely be waiting for reviews for it.
I didn't mention
to that. Like, I watched the movies back to back last weekend. Me and the lady watched those back to back. She hasn't seen Guardians 2, so I was like, let's just watch them both. All right.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, yeah, they should make a game of this. And I'd already forgot,
They are doing it. It's coming out in October.
You didn't mention Life is Strange, Jamie. I thought you'd be...
I didn't. I will play Life is Strange. Again, though, like, just talking like full, I'm doing it this year. I don't know if I'll go to it straight away. Again, it's one of those, it's a time thing, and they're releasing everything. If it was episodic, yes, I would have done, because I quite like that with the first season of Life is Strange. Like, playing through it, and then it's like, oh, I've got a couple of months break now, and here's the next one, and I'm ready for that next installment. I quite like games like Life is Strange should be episodic. They're brilliant like that. Same with the Telltale games; they were great. But this is all dropping at once. So I don't know what the indication of time commitment is for that. But I'll get to it eventually. But yeah, for this year, it's not a dead set. Again, we'll see how I'm doing time wise. So
Sonic Colors remake or remaster, whatever it is. That's the one it's been on the tip of my tongue all night. Yes, I am very excited for that. They've made a lot of quality of life improvements to that game, and it's no longer going to be dead on the Wii. It's now coming out to everything else. So it's the best Sonic game. Yeah, the best modern Sonic game, I'll say, that no one ever played. So I'm very excited for that when they come out.
Yeah, quite literally no one. Do any of us have anything else that needs sticking on the list?
No, I like your glasses, Jamie. That's what I meant to say at the top of the show, but then we all got talking.
Thank you. These are very old glasses. I'm waiting on new ones being delivered because I shattered my current ones somehow.
Well,
all I say is that all I say about games wise is yeah, but that's fine because that game's going to be a lot.
Well,
Hoping for that.
I didn't hear any of that.
I didn't hear any of that. Your mic was cutting out.
Any of that. Your microphone kept cutting out.
Ah, sorry. I was talking about Saifu, the little martial arts game that got delayed till next year. That is that's disappointing. About that. But absolutely,
what was its initial date?
It was just 2021. It was always 2021, and then it just they had the little trailer today, and then suddenly it just said. And I thought a date was coming, so I'm like, this is the third trailer they've released. I'm like, they're going to give us a date, and then it just changed to early 2022. I went, right.
Yeah, I mean, bound to happen.
That Death Stranding director's cut trailer on the State of Play was pretty rad. I thought that was pretty cool.
Everything they've added is awesome. Much more action packed because you don't do a lot of action in that game. Well, from what
actually got me excited. I was like, I think I'll pick that up when I get a PS5. Yeah,
but yeah, after playing, I'm like, I could use that. I could really use that. This is going to make things so much better.
Yes.
Well, that brings us to a close, I think.
Good.
I need to go eat some lunch, do some lifing. Thank you for using your voices and talking to me.
It's nice to see you, Jamie. It's been a while.
Back.
It is. Again, I don't know how intermittent I'll be, but hopefully, if we can kind of keep this slot, I should be around.
Nice. Very cool.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Have a good weekend. Do the video games. Do the stuff.
Watching Castlevania this weekend. Woo!
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, right. Awesome.
Good times, people.
I'm gonna do.
We'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye.